You ever been counted out? Ever had to fight for a future they said you'll never have? Then you're in the right place. This is Break Free, where resilience meets redemption. Where real stories tear down fake ceilings and freedom takes root. Your pain has a purpose. Your scars have a sound. And your breakthrough is louder than your breakdown. You can't expect change when you're stuck. Stuck in the same patterns, same mindset, same habits, same circles. It's time to break free. Hey guys, favorites. Welcome back to another great episode of Break Phree Podcast with your girl Free. And today, baby, I have Miss Browz-N-Beauty herself. You cannot mention anything about microbraid and makeup, none of that if you do not mention Alexis. Hey, Alexis.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming through. Oh, man, I appreciate this. I remember I was trying to get you in last season or whatever, so I thank you for your time, man, because I know you're a busy lady.
Busy, very busy. Got a very busy schedule.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you got me on today. I'm excited, and, I'm ready to just really tell my story.
Yeah. Break free. You ready to break
free?
Free? Yeah. And help some others break free. So tell me, you built an incredible reputation in Atlanta's beauty industry, right? Let's start at the beginning. Who was Alexis before Browz-N-Beauty?
Alexis before Browz-N-Beauty started in, actually, everybody should know, Greenbrier Mall. Mm-hmm. That's where I started from. I started in Cleopatra, the salon, doing brows. $5 fill-in brows turned to $500 brows, where I'm at now. So it's amazing where you can go from $5 to $500. You just have to wait your turn in your season for that. So never expected to be where I am now, but I'm grateful, thankful for it. But the obstacles that I've went through to get here was some really tough ones, some really hard ones, but I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I thank for all of my supporters, and most of all, I thank God, for allowing me to be in the position that I am. And I got a strong backbone system. I got, family, my mother, my number one supporter, my fiance, top number one supporter, and I got a son who, who looks up to me. So, every day I know I got to go harder. Every day I look at it like, okay, I'm here. But God, I know if you got me here, you can get me there.
Yeah.
So that's how I am.
And you keep God first.
Always first.
Yeah. What moment did you realize like entrepreneurship was your calling?
When I left Cleopatra, I was on my lunch break and I went across the street to, it was a Jamaican restaurant across the street from Greenbrier Mall. And I went and got some food. And next door to the food place was a place for lease. And I called the place, and the landlord was like, hey, I'm in the parking lot. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, I can show you this place now. He showed me this place now. He was like, you know what? Your first 6 months is free. And
First 6 months?
First 6 months. And one thing I've always known, anything I've always learned, even with my mom telling me things, when it's meant for you, you don't have to beg, you don't have to borrow, you don't have to, it's just going to come to you. So he gave me my first 6 months for free. I took the place. Mind you, I didn't have more than $2,000 in my bank account. I ain't gonna lie. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I got to get it painted. I got to get some shelves in here. I got to get some stations, all that'll be gone instantly. But I stepped out on faith. I said, I'm going to get the space. He gave it to me once I viewed it and looked at it and showed him my clientele. And, from then, everybody, when I gave because I'm never going to leave a place without giving this a notice. Mm-hmm. It's a right time and it's a wrong time to do things.
Right.
And I always believe in doing it the right way. So I gave the salon, which is Cleopatra, a notice. I let them know, hey, I'm leaving. When I let them know I was leaving, 2 weeks later after I left, about 6 of the stylists from there came over to my shop and they was like, hey, you got room over here? Because I had a clientele so big to where they wanted to know, did I have a spot? So, mind you, I got stations up, but I ain't got no salon chairs. I'm like, oh, God, now. Well, I'm going to get
the
salon chairs.
Yeah.
So, that whole weekend, I hustled. Every dollar I made for makeup, I went to, it was a Atlanta Salon Equipment. And come to find out, those are the same people that own Cleopatra. I bought the salon chairs. I put them in there for them. And they came over, and I started collecting weekly booth rent. That weekly booth rent started covering my overhead. So I'm like, wow, now I can keep my profit to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I started keeping my profit to myself. And I was like, this can get bigger. This can get greater. And barbers started coming over. And I eventually set it up for where I had 10 stations in there.
Oh, wow.
So what I made in a week would cover like the rent, the lights, the internet, things like that. And then everything else was full profit.
And what made you step out? What made you leave Cleopatra? Like,
what made me leave Cleopatra was because I started doing the math. I was like, we went from 250 to 275. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, 250 to 275. Mm-hmm. I was like, if I do the math, I might as well, because the space I found was $2,500 a month.
Okay.
But they gave me my first 6 months free. So I was like, okay, if I go ahead and grab this space and I get the clients, or I get this, it wasn't never meant for stylists. It only meant to be a beauty bar, which is a makeup bar. But the stylist from across the street, thank God, it was sinks already in there because it used to be a barbershop. So with those stylists that came over, they bought barbers as well, so it turned into 10 stations. So that's what made me realize, okay, it's time for me to elevate from paying these people $275, and now, I gave them a break. I was only charging them $150 a week when I technically know I could have been
charging $200, $250,
$175.
Yeah,
I could have been there because we was literally across the street from Greenbrier, walking distance. Like it wasn't nothing too harsh, too far for their existing clients to come to. So I really just took a leap of faith and went there, and God took me higher.
And what was the name of the first salon?
Beauty Bar.
Beauty Bar.
Beauty Bar, Atlanta.
And then Vanity Hair Studios.
Yeah.
That came about.
After 3 years of having Beauty Bar, I then opened up Vanity Hair Studios. You could actually pull up news clips of Beauty Bar before that. I had a car run through my building. They did a robbery for hair because I started selling hair also. And it's still on Google where you pull up on the news now. But they broke into the shop, and, me and the landlord, we wasn't, it shows that in my lease, he covered the insurance where the storefront part is him, but the inside is me. So
right.
I was willing to pay for my inside, and handle my insurance for the inside and the hair damages. But the storefront, the outside, the framing, the insurance didn't cover that because it was under his contract. So we didn't meet an agreement then. So when we didn't see eye to eye, that's when I then stepped out and I went to look for another space, and I found Vanity, which is on Metropolitan, which has been open 12 years now.
Wow, God. Congratulations. You just had your 12th year anniversary, 12th right? Anniversary. Congratulations. And managing Vanity Hair Studios quietly behind the scenes, what was that experience like emotionally and mentally?
Ooh, man. That's so funny because before I changed it to Vanity, I went over with Beauty Bar name. I took my sign. I took everything and went over there with it. So at that time, it was set up for 30 stations. And I had about 20 stylists in there. I had some of the hottest names in the city. Some of the hottest, and I don't name drop at all, but some of the hottest people right now in the city that's working came from Vanity.
Wow. You supposed to pop your stuff. You supposed to pop your stuff.
But some of the hottest names, Jasmine Dior, Daisy Does My Hair, Juju the Stylist, they all came from Vanity, Beauty Bar before it was Vanity, And I thank God for those stylists. They were successful. They Dolly Does My Hair. She works with Arrogant Tay. She was one of the stylists there. Yana, she was one of the hairstylists there. I mean, we had the hottest. We had everybody in the city coming in. I had Lala coming in. I had Love and Hip Hop stars coming in. So,
Vanity was that place.
It was the place to go.
Yeah.
And then in the front, when you walk in, it's the makeup bar. So you have people walking in for makeup. And my makeup artists worked from in the morning to in the night. They didn't have it to where it was just appointments only. They had it to where you can walk in and get service. And that's why I think we're still successful now, because we don't have it to where, it's just appointment based only. You can walk in at any time and get service done at Vanity.
And a lot of stylists and stuff have gotten away from that.
Right,
His book, link in my bio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Link in my bio, come pre-wash.
Yeah.
That messes up a lot. So
I'm not washing my hair. Have to come in.
Yeah.
I wash my hair when I choose to, like to make it easier on my stylist, like that does my ponytail and stuff. I tell her, I come wash. You know what I mean? I don't mind because that's not her requirement. So sometimes when I feel like she's squeezing me in, I want to lighten the load. But for people to just tell somebody they got to wash their hair before they come, no, you don't want me to come.
Right.
Yeah. So you intentionally stay out of the spotlight during that time. Why?
I stayed out of the spotlight because in the time of me building that, it was so many other salon owners trying to figure out like how she got 20 people in here. Mm-hmm. And mind you, 20 people was on one side. I had 8 to 10 barbers on the other side. So when I got Beauty Bar, I split the other side open and turned it into a barber shop. So it was so successful that everybody in the city is trying to figure out how did she do it. Sometimes I tell God how. You know, I remember checking the days when my bank account was a negative $1,700, walking up to Kroger's like, God, how I'm going to pay this? God, how I'm going to do this? How I'm going to do that? But he made a way. I didn't never fail. I didn't never want for anything. You know, I didn't never lack for anything. He made a way throughout the process. So I know I have a lot of favor over me, and I'm grateful for it. And that's why I think Vanity is still standing to this day, because so much work I put into it. The prayers that's been prayed over it, the relationships that was built in there, and the customers that know like, wow, this lady really pour into her shop. Like every 3-4 years, I always invest into the shop where I upgrade, you know, the different rooms, the doors, the painting, the wall, the panels. You know, I always believe into pouring back in what, you know, comes into me. So that's what, you know, I believe that makes Vanity really successful.
And staying apart.
Yeah, in the area that it's in. Mm-hmm. We're by the airport, and we're right in the middle of the, you know, the heart of Midtown.
Center, yeah.
So you can ride Metropolitan all the way down to the Georgia Dome, you know, to get there. So it's in the heart of Midtown. So we pretty much are really stable, really successful. I thank God for that.
What moment made you realize beauty wasn't just your passion, but it was your purpose?
What point? I would actually say when I got into doing permanent brows, because I had mastered regular brows and doing makeup, full faces. But it's like one of my clients one day, I remember going on a road trip with me and my fiance. We was going to Florida, and she was like, "You finna go out of town this week? You ain't gonna be here?" I was like, "No, I'm not gonna be here this week." She was like, "You need to learn how to make my brows permanent." I was like, "Yeah, right, if it's such a thing." Mind you, I didn't know permanent makeup was such a thing, you know.
And what year was this?
This was in 2013.
Okay.
So that year we went out of town, was on a road trip. So you know you're on a road trip, you ain't got nothing else to do, be on your phone. So I got online and started Googling permanent makeup. I found artists in LA that was training. It was really big in LA. I didn't see anyone south at all. Everything was, you know, LA, Vegas.
I feel like it came from like the Spanish community.
Right.
Yeah.
Spanish and a lot of Caucasians as well. So I trained with this lady in LA, and she taught me everything with permanent makeup, from safety, sanitation, sterilization, to how to actually do the brow theory of the permanent brows. But she didn't teach me like how to draw the brows. So drawing the brows was from my own artistry. So I was like, okay, if I draw the brows like this, how I draw them, I can just take the machine and trace them, and they will be, you know, just like this. So what I started doing with the brows is treating them like I did makeup. So I would draw the brows in with regular makeup, and I would trace them. And it got so popular to where I got a knock on the door one day, and it was like, "You're doing brows here, you're doing the tattooing. You got an open floor plan. You can't be doing that until a salon." And it was City of Atlanta. I was like, wow. So it was like, you need like a suite or something separate, because it's people hairsprays and chemicals and things like that, and you're opening skin. So since you're opening skin, that can't be, you know, done. So what I did was started looking for other places. First, I started researching like, okay, I can build suites, but then plumbing would have to go through the ground, and put a sink in this room. It costs a little more. So what I did was went to Heart of Midtown, 10th Street, and found a work lift space, which I kept it for 7 years exact. It was 1016 Howard Mill. I remember this address like never before. The the first week I got it, I painted it gold because my colors have always been gold and black. Even at my current location, they're still gold and black. So I painted it gold and black, and I set up a room for my clients. Downstairs was actually, when you walk in, it was a reception areas and a waiting area. And then upstairs, I put another room, only had 10 chairs and 2 tables with a big whiteboard. And I was like, this is what I'm teaching my students at. But in my head, that's where I had my mindset at. Only 10 students, not knowing God had something bigger for me.
Yeah.
So I only had 10 in my head. So I started doing, clients, and, I went from, $250 to $300 for the permanent brows. I was like,
and at this time, were you the only person in Atlanta doing permanent brows?
I was the first person in Atlanta doing permanent brows.
Okay.
Permanent makeup. I stamped Atlanta for permanent makeup.
Okay.
I was the first person, and I should have brought my shoes because this is something I don't show the world, but it's in my office. I have one shoe that's in my office where I made my first $124,000 in one day in 2017.
124,000 in one day?
In one day. And there's no rap cap. This is a real talk, real videos, real footage. But I had 124 students, and I charged $1,000 for the class. And when I made that $124,000, I said, God, it's time to go bigger. And I started looking for other spaces. And my mama always told me, anything that's meant for you, you're not going to have to want, you're not going to beg, you're not going to borrow. It's going to be right there on time. And the street that Browz-N-Beauty is currently on right now, I was just riding down that street because it's right down the road from Howell Mill. And the landlord was in that parking lot as well, just like it was at Vanity. He was like, you want to see the inside? He used to be a music studio, recording studio, and it's, it's this now. And he was like, I just want a tenant that's going to pay on time. And I walked through and looked at it. And he was like, I'm going to give you your first 6 months free.
Again? You got your first 6 months free?
That's favor. And I said, you know what? This is meant for me. I got my first 6 months. They're free as well. And that first 6 months.
Did you cry? Like later on, like when they take it?
I did a lot of crying. I did a lot of crying, a lot of struggling. Half the time when I was on tour training these classes, they didn't know when I got off the training tour, this $30,000 I just made is going to the contractors because I built the top level to it, to where the bottom level was like 4,500, almost 4,700 square feet, and I built the top level 5,000. So Browz-N-Beauty now is almost like 10,000 square feet because I built the top level to it. So I have a full classroom there. I have individual offices. I have my marketing rooms. I have spa rooms. I have my inventory rooms.
And you're supposed to be doing a pedicure room.
Yeah, my pedicure room, but I don't turn that now to my event space.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, my event space is doing numbers.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm just really following in the direction God is, leading me to, which I know, like, I've always enjoyed, like, decor and decorating and things like that. So I'm just really walking in my purpose right now.
I know that's right. And when you started going on tour, doing the classes, and when you went on tour, was it just like, where did you go? Tell us some of the states that you went to.
My first tour, what made me popular, and I want to shout you guys out, was New York. New York was the first state that stamped me. New York stamped me because all of their stars from like Love and Hip Hop came. I touched everybody from a New York Love and Hip Hop. When I did that, New York was on my bumper. I was in New York every 2 weeks for like 5 years straight, guaranteed.
Really?
And not in Atlanta, I was charging $500 for brows. When I got to New York, I was charging anywhere from $700 to $1,000 in brows. Mind you, I'm the first person that was doing this as an African American. Let me drop this. As an African American princess, I was the first one doing this. So everybody was so amazed, like, hey, I want to meet her. And then my sister, every day, I'm a sweatsuit person. Like, I would throw on a Nike hoodie and some sweatpants and some Nikes, and hey, I'm going to work.
Yeah.
My sister was like, Alexis, you're making a name for yourself. You building a brand.
Apart.
She said, make yourself look like you're getting the money you get.
Yeah.
And she came one day with me as burgundy jacket and this boots with heels. I can't stand heels. Now you see me in a pair of heels. So I was like, I gotta wear this. She was like, yeah. So I put it on, and she started dressing me every day. I was dressing up every day. Me dressing up every day, it started attracting a different type of clientele.
Yeah.
So really, when you're building a brand and when you are a brand, you gotta look to a part.
Yeah.
So I understand when people understand when they say, "Hey, I went to the stylist shop and she came in with her hair standing up." I was scared to let her do my hair because you're a representation of your brand.
Yes, you are.
So when I started walking in with those heels on, with that, the fly clothes on, before I got into the designer. Now, once the money definitely started rolling in, I was a designer junkie.
Yeah.
Designer fool. But do I care for it now?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Because I got every shoe, every bag. I tell people that all the time. Like, the older you get, the wiser you get. And I'm very wise now.
And what would you say during that time when you were on tour, what's the most money you made on tour?
Ooh, every state I was going in, I was making anywhere between 30 to 60 grand.
Wow.
I remember, I'm still viral right now off TikTok. I was in LA and I was coming out of Gucci. It was me and 4 of my employees. My sister, I don't like to call her my employee because she's my sister. She's my right hand. So she was never an employee. She's always been my right hand. She's the one I can trust with everything. So what happened with my sister was she always dressed me. And she had picked me out an outfit and was getting ready for the Mother's Day class. Because every holiday I do a class, like a big class. During the week, I do regular classes, 10, 12 students, sometimes 12 to 15, or sometimes 15 to 20. But when I do those holiday classes, I know we're getting anywhere between 30 to 50 or 50 to 60. So what happened was I was coming out of the Gucci store, and it was some guys downstairs, and we had so many Gucci bags. We was shopping, and the guys was like, "Can we diamond test you?" And I was like, "Yeah." I had a regular little Target outfit on and some Louis sneakers, and I was like, "Yeah, diamond test me." Like, you playing with these rocks, baby.
Yeah.
Like, popping it, you know. But still trying to be humble because I'm very humble. But the first thing they said, and I love it because my one assistant Didi was like, "No, we're gonna record this."
Yeah.
And I like to say that, shout out to Didi, because you kept that recording on live. But Didi said, "No, we're gonna record it ourselves." So it was like, we're gonna turn the diamond tester off first and test your jewelry. So when they turned the diamond tester off, of course, it looked like it was fake. But I didn't know nothing about TikTok then. This was 4 years ago, before TikTok was even hot. So they turned it off, and it was like, "Oh, it's not real," So I was like, "Cap," But I'd already been in the Gucci store. Gucci, once you start shopping, they give you a lot of wine. So like, ain't no rapping my cap. I'm talking junk back to him. But my assistant thought in her head, "Didi, hey, let me record the beginning of this."
Yeah.
So in the midst of that, her recording it, what happened was they turned the diamond tester on, and she caught that footage. When they turned it on, of course, they tested the diamonds. And I know they're real because, let me tell you something, baby. Shout out to Julio the jeweler. Ain't nothing fake over here. But he was like, "Yeah, this is real. This is real." And they left, and it was like, "Thank you for your support." And they left. And 2 days later, we returned back to Atlanta, and the Shade Room, Neighborhood Unlocked, every blog, I was going viral. They was like, "These guys catch these girls coming out of the Gucci store and the jewelry is fake." So my students is up on the page. Ain't no rapping her cap. Like, they was going off. So I was like, and I get a ring from my dude. And my dude was like, "Straighten that up right now because I bought you that jewelry."
Yeah.
Like, no, and then my other assistant, like, "Our website is going crazy. Bookings. I made 80,000 off a viral lie." So I was like, "No, I ain't straightening this up because you make more money off a false, present of you." So I'm like, no. Let it keep going. I was wanting to go to 100K.
Yeah.
Guess what? They took that lie. Like, I know was, real. I never pretended or portrayed. And if I feel like I got to be in that standpoint, it's not for me, So I'm never that person to pretend. It's either for me or it's not for me.
Yeah.
And if it's not for me, God, it's my turn is coming one day. It's either one way or the other.
Yeah.
So when I went viral from that, and I remember he even got a call from like Lil Baby, like, "Hey, y'all straighten that jewelry up." Like, people was calling him like, "Straighten it up." And he was like, "I told my girl to straighten it up. She ain't straightening it up." I didn't want to.
You didn't
because
care.
My sales kept going up.
Yeah.
So,
So you was winning on the back end.
I was winning on the back.
Yeah.
So I kept telling people, like, I understand when people that socialites and celebrities, when they get the backlash, like, you go more viral when people are against you than when they're for you.
That's how my friend, I don't know if you've seen it, Tiffany Tangi's Tuna.
No, I haven't seen it.
So she was like viral for selling tuna. Like you've never seen anybody go all across the country on a tour selling tuna and beanies and weenies, right?
Wow.
So she making a lot of money off of it. But then you got people who are haters, you know. So one girl did like a post that went viral saying it was nasty, was throwing it in the trash. But they ain't did nothing but made her more money. That's all they did was made her more money.
Is she's not that one with the little sardine challenge, is it? The sardines with the cucumbers and stuff?
No, I ain't seen that. Oh, okay.
So I was like, what is that? I gotta try that. It makes you, when you see stuff like that, if somebody's talking good or bad, like,
it makes you want to look at it.
Because it's going viral, you want to try it anyways. So that's how people was with my class. They was like, hey, I gotta learn this technique. I gotta see, is she really making this type of money?
And you were.
I am.
And
Still standing.
I know that's right. But it
Monica,
wasn't.
still standing. But it was real.
Yeah.
And it still is real. And
Yeah.
I'm still standing, and I'm blessed, and I'm grateful. Like, but I got a lot of favor over my life. And I took care of a lot of people in the midst of me doing permanent makeup. You know, I took care of everybody that was around me. Can't nobody on my squad say she was selfish. She did. If you do, you just got to be a hater, you know. But I took care of a lot of people, and I honestly believe, I sit here and sometimes I be like, God, I'm going through a tight point in my life right now, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm still standing. But He sit back and say, look who you took care of. So the seeds I poured out then, I'm reaping right now.
Amen. Amen. And during this time, like, you getting all this money and everything, but it was things that people didn't know that was going on, like, with you behind the scenes, like, you know, mentally or just.
Man, people didn't even know what half was going behind the scenes of me. Like, 30 employees, dealing with 30 employees, different personalities, different attitudes. Everybody counting your pockets, counting your money. Everybody want to be in your shoes and don't even know half of what you're going through. People didn't even know I'm taking care of this part of my family. I'm taking care of this part of my family. I'm helping out friends. I'm helping out staff, you know, and I never put their business out there, but I helped everybody because I'm not a selfish person. Because my mom always taught me one thing in life. If your hands are tight, nothing can come in and nothing can go out. So my hands are always open. So since they're open, I'm the most giving person you can ever meet in your life, you know. But you can also use a person to a certain extent. And I felt like that's where I'm at now, and that's why I'm so, you know, I want to work by myself, or I only want one person around me, because I gave so much and I was burnt out. Mm-hmm. But I'm praying that God send like the right people to me now, so that I don't have those same feelings or those same thoughts, because everybody is not the same. Mm-hmm. And God showed me too, Alexis, you can't keep hiring people that was in your past, because the people that was in your past looking at you, they're judging your past and not knowing your future now. You've changed. I've changed. Half of the time, they didn't even know, for me to even function a company with 30 employees, I'm on Percocet 10s every day, all day. Addiction out of here. Like, trying to keep a straight pace, trying to stay going, trying to, you know, run the business. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was one of the hardest things. And I had my mom behind me, my fiance, my dad, and I went to rehab 3 times to get off those. 3 times. But, you know, people look at it as a joke. Oh, she's still high. She this, she that. You can judge me. You can say what you want to say. But nobody can stand in these shoes, because every day I look at, like corporate CEOs and people in the big buildings, and you look around and you like, dang, he owned all of this. Why he's upstairs dead off overdose? You don't know what these people go through. We make it look good because we don't want you guys to know what we're going through on the back end. Nobody wants to, because we're not. Look where we at. We're in Atlanta, Cap City. I call this Cap City because everybody here make everything look good, and everything ain't good. Some days I struggle to pay bills. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like that always. But I realized, God, you got me still standing for a reason.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm successful. I'm blessed, and I haven't lost nothing. You haven't took anything from me. I'm blessed. I'm grateful. But that was one of the hardest. Even now, I still hear to this day, like, employees say, used to be a perk addict. Used to be a Percocet. I did. I'm not scared to tell my story. I done told it on the stage before.
Thank you. I thank you too for being vulnerable and open up, because I told you before we started filming, like a lot of girls, right? You know, from the outside looking in, or people, period, will look at you. She's so pretty. She has everything together. And there's more women like that, right? But they're not willing to tell their story. They're not willing to tell the story. So I thank you for being vulnerable and opening up about how you were addicted.
Right. So many people are not willing to tell their story because they're ashamed. Because, like, we're in a perfect world now where images is everything. Picture is perfect. And, you know, and I tell people all the time, everything that looks good is not good.
Right.
You know, and just because, Browz-N-Beauty is making this amount of money, or Vanity is doing this, that doesn't mean I'm not going through things. And I had to just deal with burying my little sister who was killed to domestic violence. Her guy shot her 11 times. Killed her. My mom lost her mind. So I knew I got to stand up. I got to be the stand-up person, because I can't allow my mama, not my prayer warrior, to lose her mind, you know, because how am I going to still be standing, you know, because she's my right hand, you know, and I look to God for everything. Don't get me wrong, but she's like a strength. She's like a backbone.
Your rock.
She's something different. And I don't care what nobody has to say about it. She's going to go with me, whether it's right or wrong. She's going to ride with me, you know.
Yeah.
And I had to take her out of work to take care of my sister's son, who saw her die in front of him.
Jesus.
Which was the hardest thing. And she's still raising him to this day. He's doing really good.
How old is he now?
Now he's 13.
And how old was he when it happened?
When it happened, he was 4.
Wow. And during that time, how were you able to, like, cope? You know what I mean? How was you able to cope?
I remember walking to my little sister's funeral, and I was so hot, I don't even remember what she was buried in. That's how I tell people. I can't even think what she was buried in, or what she. I can't.
Yeah.
You know, so I can imagine, you know, my mom losing a child. Me, that's my only son I got is Peyton. I only got a 13-year-old son. So me losing all I got, I probably would never be right again. But because, like, the power of the tongue, like faith, God, like she's still standing, and she goes and speaks and tells her story to everybody. Like, hey, if someone lose somebody in LaGrange, Noonan, Grantville, Hoganville, Georgia, she's down there telling the story. Like, hey, I was once in your position. It's gonna be a brighter day. You're never gonna forget.
Right.
You're never going to forget, but you got to keep going. You know, it's going to get better over time, but you're never going to forget. And she tells her story, and I thank God that, you know, she's still a rock. And she realizes that at first she was like, she didn't realize that she still had 2 more beautiful daughters.
Right.
Because she had lost her mind from losing her baby.
Right.
That's her baby girl. So she had to come to me and my sister in realization, like, wow, I still got 2 more daughters. And I got something I can still live for. And she started realizing, like, y'all can be there for me as well. But we had to let her go through our time, because we were in a time period where we wasn't talking. We was on bad terms, like, because my mama was dealing with losing my little sister. And nobody knows what it's like to
lose a child. Right.
Nobody. I haven't been in that position, so
right.
I can't judge my mama the story. And I tell people, until you walk in those shoes, you can't judge someone's story, you know?
Right.
So when she started realizing our relationship got stronger, our bond got stronger. Like, we're bigger, we're better now. Like, we always hanging together. We on 3-way every morning, all 3 of us.
Praise God.
Yeah, and we're making the best of it.
Yeah, amen. And was there any signs? Did y'all know your sister was in an abusive relationship?
We didn't know my little sister was in an abusive relationship.
Get that tissue.
My little sister was known as a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Did I get it? Oh, I think I did. Okay. Yep. She was known as a fighter. Mm-hmm. So since she was known as a fighter, we didn't never suspect her to be, you know, beaten. But her situation was more so she was leaving. She was tired of the relationship, and her packing her things to leave. He took the battery out the car, and she was like, "I'm still leaving." And she left with her son, started walking, and he started chasing her with a gun, and he started shooting at her. And she told her son to run behind the tree, and he hid behind the tree, and that's when he shot her down. And her son was looking around the tree and actually seen his mom die in front of him. I pray to God every day, hey, my nephew doesn't take his anger out on nobody else. Because he don't deserve to, you know. He didn't ask to be in those shoes. He didn't ask to be in the position that he's in. But I made sure, you know, he's good. My mom made sure he's good. She takes really good care of him. She keep him in church, that's for one.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep him grounded.
Right.
You got to keep him in church. You got to keep him in right environments. Because if not, like...
mentally, he could lose it.
He could lose his mind.
Yeah, he could blow.
Yeah, you could lose your mind looking at your mom die in front of you. I couldn't even...
I
this
can't
age
imagine.
I am right now, I probably would lose my mind, you know. But like I said, like it was a testimony, it's a story, and it's something that pushed me to go harder. And I really believe, like, anytime you go through a lot of losses in a situation, it becomes a lot of wins. And when I lost my little sister, that's when my company blew up.
Really?
It went through the roof. Like it. And I was like, God, I had to go through this to get to here. But sometimes we have to go through certain stages to get to where we are. And I understand now, like, but I never want anybody to experience that because that was it's a heartbreak,
yeah,
you know. But it was a process. And, you know, my mom, she's a prayer warrior. She's a woman of God. And she's still standing in day and night. She prayed for me. She prayed for me.
I know. You told me you was going to introduce me to your mom. I still ain't
you
met
still
her.
gotta meet.
Yeah, you told me you was going to introduce me to her.
This who needs to sit in your chair.
Okay.
This who needs to be in your chair. She needs to tell her story. Because her story is still untold. And still to this day, we don't understand how my little sister died and he shot himself because, you know, even with the corners and everything, you know, with the type of bullet he was shot with, in order for him to shoot himself, his head should have exploded. But it didn't. So it's still a question, like, what really happened.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So he died too?
Yep.
Oh, it was a double. Wow.
Mm-hmm. It was the most viral story in LaGrange, Georgia, Troup County. One of those, something they never experienced in their lives.
And so now, like, did you go through therapy or anything to?
I did go through therapy. You know what I used as therapy?
Your Bible.
Percocets.
Oh, your Percocets.
Those Percocets. Those was my therapy. Now, I'm always a prayer and a prayer warrior, but I thought that could relieve. That's what people didn't understand. I thought that was my pain. That was my go-to every day. Hey, let me pop my perk. Before I walk in my building, I knew my staff was talking about me. My videos record. My cameras record. Not only did that, certain staff members sent me recordings. You know, I knew I was being talked about. I knew I was being hated on. But guess what? I knew, like, I needed this team with me because I needed that to keep going. But it wasn't until God removed everybody and left me standing in the building. He said, if I remove everything from you, you still trust me? And I was like, ooh, I can do this by myself. Baby, I'm still standing. Sometimes I don't even know how, because I can be like, 6 guys in the lobby, I got to get to him. And he allowed me from doing brows in 2 hours to them 30 minutes brows. So they're in and out, and they're still satisfied with their results, and they're still happy with it, you know.
And so that was at the time when you had like 30 employees.
Yeah.
And then you went from 30 employees to no employees.
Yep. When the pandemic happened, everybody got to a point where I'm my own boss, you know. It was free money out here.
Yeah.
You got unemployment.
Yeah.
You got free PPPs.
Yeah.
Everybody think, no, I can be my own boss. And that's what I think is wrong with the generation now, because it's hard to keep a good staff right now as well, because so many people got in their head that, oh, I can do this, I can start this, but don't realize, hey,
it takes a lot.
that looks good is not good.
Yeah, and you have to be anointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, your calling is your call. Alexis' calling is not my calling, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and people don't realize that they be on the outside looking in until they sit in that seat
Exactly.
and realize. How did you cope with going from 30 employees to no employees?
That was really hard. I was like, God, the content I gotta take. You know, in the midst of going from 30, now I knew where God was taking me from because the payroll I was paying with 30 employees, as the economy started to drop over the years, he knew there's no way in the hell you could pay 30 employees and the money is still not flowing in. So I believe God started to removing people out of my circle, out of my life. And I remember one day, before it got really slow, my fiance said, it's time to test who's real on your end. He said, you've been loyal for so long. Let's test who's real on your end. He said, so we're going to have a meeting tomorrow. And you're going to go upstairs and you're going to tell everybody, hey, these 5-6 days y'all been working a week, it's time to see who's loyal on my end.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can no longer pay you for these 5-6 days a week because I was paying and it wasn't even clients coming in. I was creating work for some of the staff.
Right.
And some of the staff wouldn't even qualify for the positions that they was in. So what happened was when I told them, hey, I'm going to start dropping you guys to 3-4 days a week until things start picking back up. I didn't have to do no more. They started giving notices. I'm leaving. They started quitting, not showing up for work. They started dropping off like flies. And he said, now you see who's loyal and who's not. And it left me with maybe 2-3 loyal people.
Wow.
To be exact, it was 2 loyal people that stayed down. And in the midst of that, you know, one of them was a family member and one of them was a assistant that moved to New York and she had to go back to school. And I respect her. She gave her notice. You know, she's very successful now. And I believe, like, because of their faithfulness, that's why they're at the level they are. Anybody that left in a bad term, I sit back and look. They're nowhere in position where I had them at. You know, they're nowhere. But, you know, I don't wish bad on nobody because God can't bless me if I'm cursing or wishing bad on the next person.
Yeah, wishing ill on these
But
people.
I just sit back and look like, dang, that was the same person who said I wasn't going to go for her. That was the same person that said Browz-N-Beauty ain't going to be open more than 30 days. But we still standing.
Still standing.
Still standing.
I guess that's going to be the name of this episode, Westside. Still standing.
Still standing.
Yeah. And who told you, or was it yourself that said you needed to go to rehab?
It was my fiance. He got tired of me Percocet. I was spending $700 every 2 days, $800 on Percocet. Mind you, Percocet is $20 a pill. So my tolerance was so high to where every 2-3 days I have to have 20 to 30 Percocets. If not, I'm losing my mind. I can't function. I can't work. I can't do this. I can't get out of bed. I don't want to do this. But as soon as that pill get in me, it's like it's an energy. Hey, get up, do this, do that, do that, the third. So I started moving off of those emotions. And the first time I went to rehab, I got off. I stayed off for 2-3 months. Every time I went to rehab, it was $10,000. And I went to Dawson rehab, and that's in Dawson, Georgia. And it's been the same place every time I went for the last 3 times. Every time I went, the doctor, the third time, he told me I'm a pastor, and he prayed over me.
Really?
He's like, I can tell you're sick and you're tired and you're tired. And when I gave it up because this time I wanted it for myself. The first 2 times I wanted it because of them, but I had to want it for myself. When I gave it up completely, it's like, dang God, that's when all the employees left, everything. So I'm like, am I being tested to go back to what can help me or what can make me or what can mold me or what can keep me pushing? You know, but I never stepped back into those shoes again.
And you've been clean how long now?
I've been clean since 2022.
Yeah.
The 3-year clean.
We clean over here, baby. We
funny
clean.
because the other day I was, not just the other day, just yesterday I was getting my braids done and somebody wrote me in my DMs and say, oh, you must be high. No, I'm not the same Alexis no more. They just gripping my hair too tight. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And also I'm missing my eyelashes, so I'm not high. Baby, I'm not high. So if you see this, I'm not high.
That's right.
I'm just missing this strip, but I'm back.
I'm so, you know what? I'm so happy for you, Alexis. I'm just so happy. That day we met, I met you because I was looking for a space to record.
Right.
And I don't know why, but I was just like, do you remember? I was like, can I pray for you?
Yes.
And I don't even know what made me even say, I'm like, could we pray? You know, but when I met you that day, it was just like, I don't know. I can't explain it. You know what I mean? And I told Lee later, I said, I like her. I was like, oh my God, you won't believe the conversation that we had. I said, I went there looking at a space. That turned to us talking and stuff for over an hour. You know what I mean? So I just admire you as a woman. You get what I'm saying? Your strength and your success. Like, I really do. I think you dope.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love you too. I watched your podcast and I was like, I was looking at your podcast. This was when I was first doing my podcast. And I was like, I wonder if she in the area. Like, she's in the area. I said, her story is just amazing. Like, and she's not scared to tell her testimony. You know, what she's been through and her situation. Like, it's amazing. Like, the hustle, the things that we try to provide.
Right.
And people don't understand. We're trying to provide. We're not trying to get over or, hey, be the next king. Like, we're just really trying to provide, and we're willing to take risk at any given moment. You know what I'm saying? So people don't understand our stories, and I'm glad now. Like, hey, I'm gonna break free. Like,
we breaking free, baby. And I gotta get mommy on now. Now I gotta get mommy on.
Get her on.
Yep. So now tell me. So Browz-N-Beauty is still standing.
Yep.
And also you also have you've added the event space. Talk about the event space.
So I have Browz-N-Beauty now. Vanity is still standing, which is 12-year anniversary. We just did. I have the event space now, which is A-Lux Events. That's in Atlanta, the heart of Midtown. It's like right across the street from my beauty school, actually. So it's so funny because I never meant for it to be an event space. It was only a space for my students because my classroom only holds 30. So remember, my classes used to be more than 30 sometimes. So I was like, I'm not going to keep renting out the ballrooms and meeting this food and beverage minimum. I rather was find a space. So I found the space and it was right across the street. And I got it and I turned it into like a empty space to where you put table, chairs, a stage, and, for my training. That's all I utilize it for. It was when things slowed down. God gave me the vision like, hey, start use this as an event space. And I started using it as an event space. And I've been using it as an event space since the last 2 years. But this year alone, the event space have took off to where now I'm the one who do the decor, the balloons, the interior, the drapery. And I didn't even know I had this gift in me. Now I know I can design and create. I didn't know I could do some balloons. I ain't going to tell you no story because half the time when I was blowing up there, I was, and I'm like, Lord, how can I create all this and do all this in one? But he gives you. If you ask, that's one thing. You got to be specific when you ask. God, give me the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding. Those are the three things that I specifically pray for. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
So what do you feel like is next? What's next for Alexis?
What's next for me is doing interior decorating and events bigger and weddings. Okay. That's what I think is next for me.
That's next for you?
Events. Weddings, bigger.
And interior
it's
decorating.
Only 2,500 square feet now. So I'm looking for more of a 5,000 to 6,000 square feet. And I'm more into intimate engagements, weddings, and things like that. Like I feel like that's next level for me. Because I like to see a person face when they walk in. I like to see the happiness like that it does something to you. Like, dang, like I just made this person happy. Like, keep going. And I honestly believe like if I did this and got to this level, I feel like God can take me greater and higher and higher. All I got to do is ask.
And what would you tell someone right now that's, look like they're at the top of their game, how you were, making all the money, the hundreds, thousands, dollars, but behind was like crumbling on the inside, or when they get home and look in the mirror, don't like the person they see? What would you tell that person to help them get through the time that they're going through?
I would tell them to keep going. Don't give up. And pray. Push.
Pray until something happens.
Yes. I didn't know why my mom was ever telling me that. Pray until something happens. And I was like, push. I said, Mom, some days I feel like I can't even get out of bed. You have to push. When it doesn't feel good, when it doesn't look good, push. When everything's not going your way, you got to push. Like, you got to pray. And you got to speak life. And you got to speak it over anything that you have. You got to speak existence. And the tongue is powerful. What lies in the tongue is very, very
You better
powerful.
say it.
It's
Go take us to church.
Death. It's life and death in that tongue. So what you speak is what you get. So I hate when people come around and be like, oh, I'm never going to be as big as you. I tell my students, don't ever speak that, because you might be bigger than me.
Right.
Or pray you might be as big as me.
Right.
You know, you don't look at me as a competition, because I'm training you. You know, I'm training you to be successful. That's why I tell all my students, when I train you to the best of my ability. I don't train you to be in competition with you. I don't train you to just show you a crowd real quick and catch these couple of thousand. Now, it's real quick to easily get. Don't get me wrong, because that money comes in, baby.
Yeah.
But I train you because you're a representation of me. So when you go out here and you're slaying a brow, hey, I train with Browz-N-Beauty. That looks good. That made me flip my coat. Hey, you know, I built another brow artist.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I know I'm not going to be doing this the rest of my life. Your neck, your back hurt me, bend over all that. I'm not going to do that. You know, I need a massage every day. I'm not going to be doing that, you know. But I honestly believe, like, you know, you have to evolve in anything you're doing. And now I want to do more of interior decorating, 3D renderings, home designs, landscaping. Like, I love drawing those things out.
Oh, wow.
It's just something I love doing, you know.
Okay.
And I can sit at home from my home office and do that some days, you know. And I remember my first years of traveling and doing permanent makeup and training. I remember my son, I had him in the best school, Woodward Academy.
Woodward Academy, tuition ain't no joke.
Millions. So ain't nothing you want for anybody that's watching him, which was my mom, my sister, and my dad. They're getting money. Everybody's getting paid to watch him. And there's nothing he can't go on Walmart, Target. There's no game card he can't get. Yeah. But he missed a lot of mom. And it's amazing how now he's really good in football. He's a wide receiver. He plays. I took him out of private school because he got a chance now. It was my fiance. It was like, hey, he's getting a little too nerdy. Let's get him. Let's get around some regular kids. This ain't regular right here. Like, he tripping over his shoelaces and stuff. This ain't what we building. So I was like, okay, cool. So we took him out of Woodward and we put him into Sutton. So he's in Sutton Middle School now. He's in the 7th grade. He's a good wide receiver. He's very smart. Every class, A/B honor roll. But he also, the teachers know that they look at his background, where he came from. So when he's in class, he helps and tells the other students, oh, I already learned this. We learned this in 4th grade. And I be like, boy, hush it up. Shut up. Yeah. Like, I have to tell him to hush it up sometimes because he got a little mouth on him. He look like, and me and him the same time. So me and him be bumping heads all the time because I'm a Libra and he a Libra. So we always be bumping heads because he don't care what he say and I don't care what I say. Yeah. You know, and he'll get an attitude with me and I get an attitude with him, and we'll walk in the house past each other like, okay, cool. We're going to see who have the attitude the longest. You know, we're the same size. Yeah. So my mama say, now you get a little bit of what I birthed. Right. I used to act like that as a kid, mama. Yeah, like, it comes back. Yeah. It comes back. Yeah. All the nights I cried and prayed for you, she said, you're going to get every bit of that back. And now I understand, like, wow, it does come back. Yeah, it comes back. So before you go, I can't let you leave without telling us something that you need to break free from. Something I need to break free from is holding grudges. And looking back on the past. And looking back on the people that betray me, backstab me. And even me, I'm never perfect. I tell people that all the time. I did some of the same things, but I only did things because of, you know, what was brought to me. Right. You know, because sometimes you want to get even. And now the older you get, the wiser you get. So I'm not at a point to where, hey, I want to get even with that person anymore. You know, I know it's somebody bigger that can handle him, which is God. So I pray about everything, and don't worry about nothing.
Okay, there you have it. Pray about everything, worry about nothing. Thank you so much again, Alexis, for coming through today. Thank you for sharing your testimony. Thank you for just being an inspiration, encouraging others. And it is my prayer that God sends you people that you really can trust and that you feel comfortable with getting, that he heals that part of you that people has, that's broken. That part that's broken from helping so many people. Because I've heard some of the people that you helped. And it's like they don't, give the credit or even say anything about you, but God rewards you. Yeah.
Like, Lord, give me that discerning spirit. Like, hey, if this is the right person, show it to me. Give it to me. I don't want to 6 months down the line, because it doesn't look good for you to have a business and every 3-4 months you got a different employee.
Right.
It doesn't look good on the brand. So I want to know right then, right there, if that person is meant for me. If not, go ahead and remove them.
I know that's right.
And that removal prayer is that prayer. Like, sometimes you pray for that removal prayer, like, everybody don't love me. Like, but God, when you really specific with him,
yes,
he will remove what's not meant to be.
Okay. Well, guys, there you have it. This has been another great episode of Break Phree Podcast with your girl Free. And remember, it's always delusion until they see it happen. As Dunk would do.